I mean, I don't know, bro. I just, you know what? Honestly, this is aside from that, right? Because again, I think it's bigger than Kendrick, and I think it's bigger than Drake. Um, I just think that it's certain levels that you just or certain things that you just don't even want to be tied into. Personally, when I hear stuff like this, no matter how much money you get, because honestly, it ain't another Rolex that Drake can buy. It ain't another this, and ain't another that. It's almost like
Still nigga. That's what Jay-Z told you.
no, 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 and I agree with that. But it's more just like you can't not work with certain people because certain people have such a huge because you such an asset. Once you start to, you know what I'm saying, tie in or deliver with that type of stuff, and it's always like, I think about people and I think about them signing these big contracts and stuff like that, and it's like, damn, like you can't walk away because you people got a vested interest in you delivering.
Anton, he said, he said if you ever want to pull him up in the back and just not say his name, he'll talk for you.
We'll deep dive. I think I'm a deep dive tomorrow on Friday a little bit more when we got the, you
Man,
know what I'm
my
saying?
my plug, man. If he ever get released, he texting from cell block.
What?
He got a burner phone texting.
It's
Yeah,
just, it's just
it's
a,
crazy.
it's
It's crazy
just,
though.
yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. When too much money is moving around, that shit seem complicated, bro.
You come up
But
there.
that's why I was saying that it's going to be hard to get out that deal.
Bro, we this ain't our first time seeing something like this. We got Michael Jackson, we got Prince. We seen what happened to them. We y'all can forget the examples. History just repeated itself. Y'all, if y'all
I just stated Prince. He had the same deal. That's what I just
Yeah, but I
said.
mean, I don't even think it's just that industry. I just think that any industry is the same thing, bro. When you earn a lot of money and you not
Mhm.
once you do any deal and you deliver, it just becomes worse, I think, bro.
I don't think basketball. Well,
No,
athletes.
no. All these industries are ran the same
Cause
because they
like
all ran.
I'll give you an
They ran
example,
by the same
like
people.
a small example. I get offers and deals all the time, bro.
Mhm.
I get calls from all kind of outlets and conversations, and I won't even entertain it because it's just like it don't feel good. It don't feel good, man.
It feel like you going back to work for somebody.
No, it ain't that. Cause the money look good, but it just don't feel good because it's like, how can I explain this? Like, I don't want to be tied. I don't want to deal with no contract and no deliverable because it almost like it opens up a certain door. It opens up certain doors that I don't want to be a part of.
So with okay, so I know music industry, but I don't know media industry, right? So if you go and sign a contract with a media corporation, how does that affect you independently?
Well, it depends on how you structure your deal, right? So let's just say, for example, okay, so you could do it to where they sign you, or you could do it to where they basically sign you sign your company to them. So you're distributing the product. So I'll give it to you like this. You can go and say, okay, well, I work for this corporation. Let's take a Stephen A. Smith, right? Stephen A. Smith works for ESPN, which means that Stephen A. Smith is contractually obligated to do whatever ESPN requires for them to do. If he got to go up late at night, he got to do these basketball games, and then he may have to go pivot over here, whatever. But Stephen A. Smith is basically ESPN because he's owned by ESPN, which is why they pay him all of these dollars, but he don't sleep, which is fine. He's getting paid commensurate for whatever he delivers. Now, let's have a different conversation. Let's take a Pat McAfee, right? Pat
Okay.
McAfee developed a product that was independently thriving on its own, right? So now Pat McAfee says he dictates the terms and he says, listen, I'll stream this day, this day, this day, but I still want to own my own YouTube channel. and I'm just gonna license out my product to you for a certain amount of money, but I still own myself. So at the end of that contract, for example, all of the stuff that Stephen A. Smith did and all of the previous streams and stuff like that, they still own all of that. Pat McAfee can then go in and say, listen, I still own all of my stuff. I could take my legacy content, I could put it on Netflix, I could take my show and then put it over here. Stephen A. Smith is just Stephen A. Smith. That's why Stephen A. Smith then goes on and starts the Stephen A. Smith show, similar to what Shannon Sharp did with Club Shay Shay on YouTube, because he wants that to be his own entity. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Right.
So
So
it's similar to music then.
it's the
Okay.
exact same as the music
Yeah.
game.
Because you can, if you look at people like No Limit or Cash Money, they had their own entity going, and then they merged with UMG, but they still owned everything there.
Correct. So I own 100% of myself, which means that I
Yeah.
keep 100% of myself. And anytime that anybody then says, because like, for example, one of the bags that I get is licensing. You know, somebody may
Mhm.
take some of my own content. I still make a lot of money off of my old content from exploring the Pontiac Silverdome or exploring certain abandoned buildings, because I was the last person to do it. Then I have some of the best footage for it. So then people contact me and say, hey, can I use this? Well, they got to license that. And then they got to contact my company, which they basically go through Rita. We sign a contract, and then I make money from that. I
Yeah.
own myself 100% for 100% of the time. You see what I'm saying? So anything that I decide that I want to do, I can do it because I have the freedom to do so, because I'm not under any obligation. You sign
Right.
a contract with a company, they could say, well, we want you to stream this day, and this day, or we want to control what you got going on over there, or depending on what your contract is, they could own a portion of your YouTube channel. Candace Owens developed the whole channel while she was under with Ben Shapiro and them,
Yeah,
that
he
she
owned all that
basically had to
content.
leave behind because they still
Yes.
own that channel.
All
So
that
then she
content.
had to
Yes, I
she had to
remember.
go back to her old channel and then be able to restart herself, because she didn't own herself because of what
Correct.
she signed to when she wound up going
Correct.
over there to whatever the name of that company was with Ben Shapiro and them, right? You see what I'm saying? So when
The
you
Wire,
can look
Daily
at
Wire.
Dave Ramsey and how he runs Ramsey Solutions. And so if you don't understand it from a business perspective, it's difficult, because a lot of people look at the money and they say, oh man, it's a lot of money. But that's not a lot of money to me, especially considering where I'm going and what I've already made.
Well, see, but so that's why I'm wondering why not use it as a springboard? Because even with Ben Shapiro owning all that, right?
The
It
Daily
still
Wire.
gave
Thank you, Fi Brown.
yeah. It still gives Candace a leg up though, right? Because she got the visibility. Somebody else was putting the dollars into it, right? And then when she finally got let go, she's already big. She's already Candace. She's just
Now
gonna go take that.
that's one of the ways that you can leverage the machine, right? The
Yes,
machine then
yes.
creates more visibility.
So when you transfer that to
But
Drake, why wouldn't Drake
but
just do that?
but there's another side to that, right? Because
Okay.
again, you don't own yourself, you don't own any of that stuff.
And
Here's
you
the
just made
flip
this
side. I
company
do it differently.
millions of dollars.
Correct. I do it differently. I say, hey, listen, they call me, they say, hey, listen, we want to do this. I said, we'll talk about it. Well, okay, well, why don't you come on tonight and let's do this show on Fox. Let's do this show. Hey, the AP, we gonna have you on the AP. The AP is trying to contact you. I just did an interview. I got to do the AP next week. Go on the Dr. Phil show. I do this and do that, right? And so you have these conversations, but I get the visibility, but I don't sign anything. I'm not interested in having that conversation right now. Why
Right.
should I?
Okay, so now this what you also forgetting. You ask why they can't. So a lot of these places, when you sign a contract and you go away from the company, they have a non-compete clause.
They
So
do.
you
Mm-hmm.
can't
Which
with
is why
another
Candace Owens had to abandon her original YouTube channel when they started her new one.
right. So
Mm-hmm.
you can't with another network like that's why y'all ain't seen Max Kellerman, because he's in a non-compete. He can't
Mm-hmm.
go there for 10 years. So
What?
they pay. That's why you ain't seen Max Kellerman, bro. He was good,
Man,
but
why would he sign a contract like that?
Because
because you're not thinking,
He
because
didn't
he
think
you're
he
ain't
was
not
think
gonna go
thinking.
that far
nowhere.
ahead.
Yeah,
But
What do you mean? Like,
people sign that when they
listen.
do contracts
When
anyway.
you
You could be at
trying
a
to
security
figure it
company and
out,
sign non-competes.
when you trying to figure it out and you trying to run it up, nigga, like them offering you some M's or whatever like that, that's big money.
He
But
probably
Man,
involved.
but it's
not,
different.
not,
See,
not,
like
With, and I'm
if
no,
if
here.
I bring some,
not
let's
for
say
10
for
years.
example, a company comes in, let's say a ESPN or a Disney or whatever, and they come in and they say, hey, listen, hey man, I give you $1 million a year. 99% of all people is going okay. What do you mean? I'm getting nothing right now, or I'm trying to figure it out, or I'm trying to break into the industry. Yeah, I take an
Yeah.
M, or I take 600,000 or whatever it is that you're gonna pay me. Cool. But then it
Shit, man.
becomes different when you've built it on your own and you put all of your sweat and equity into it because you can't offer me $1 million because I don't care about $1 million. So now I have more leverage because I've already proved myself. It's similar to the music industry, right? Music industry is not
Hmm.
developing artists anymore. They're looking for people that are already built the fan base and is hot in some
Yeah.
capacity because then that allows for them to be able to guarantee their investment because they already know that you hot. And then B, you can manage yourself, which means that we don't have to babysit you. The question then becomes what are the terms of the agreement, right?
And it's
So
Yeah.
usually 360.
correct.
Hmm.
So I don't need. Listen, I don't just get calls from companies and networks and corporations. I get calls from management teams. They call me and say, "Hey, man, listen, we want to sign you. We've signed this person. We signed this person. We signed this person. They got a whole roster of some of the biggest people or whatever. Hey, man, we could take you to the next level. You know what I'm saying?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, what does that look like? Because I just want to know. I'm curious." Well, we will own this percentage for this long and all of this other stuff. And so that, man, I'm gonna tell you, a lot of these big YouTubers, y'all don't know, but they don't even own themselves. They don't own their
Yeah.
own channel. They don't own themselves. They getting a fraction of what it is that they generate. They not when you see some of these YouTubers or these content creators and they say, "Oh, I'm not motivated." That's because they don't they gotta output. They can't even be creative because they got a certain amount that they gotta put out in order for them to even be able to hold on to their own licensing.
It's crazy that you say that because you remember you used to always say, I'm gonna get 2K a 360 deal.
Mhm.
Well, the last rant show with you and Randy, people, audience members seen that and thought that they can tell somebody on me. So it's like just because they thought that I had somebody over my head, they started complaining to Randy about me when I'm doing on my show. So
Mhm.
I'm like, if I ever did a contract, I got to put that in there because now
Correct.
they feel almost counsel me.
Right. But see, a lot of times, um, even with
Wow.
me and dealing with my people and stuff like that, I don't hold nobody. Like anytime anybody want to do their own thing, I'm supportive. If anybody want to start their own show, hey, let's get it. Promote that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't force nobody to do nothing.
But that's not the norm. That's not the norm, Anton. Like Anton, you're genuinely a good person.
But my
Most of these
point,
people
but that's because I would never do anybody the way that I would want to be done. And I also understand the business a little bit more from a content creator's perspective because I've been in it for a long time. And
And
I kind of look at myself as like I'm kind of like the currency of YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I'm like the currency the rapper. I'm
yeah,
like him.
You
I'm like,
rebuilt yourself.
yeah, I'm 100% independent. I drop when I want. I work when I want. I work my ass off, but then you know what I'm saying? Like it is. Like I am. I would rather be strange music. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be them.
Anton, can I ask you this? Okay, with you, see, you got that big brother mentality. Like you will help anybody that you feel like grind.
100%.
I see a lot of people hating on Cassinet right now.
Mm-hmm.
They hating on because they feel like his journey was overnight. But I kind of been watching him for a while. And even if I wasn't, like, my first reaction wouldn't be like, oh, he an industry plant.
Right.
Like, the brother grinding. So what would you do if you was getting the reactions Cassinet is getting right now? Because a lot of women love Cassinet. And a lot of dudes can't stand him. They can't stand to watch his
Well,
content.
that's because he's gotten to a level where the jealousy you're always going to get to a level to where the jealousy is going to overtake the love. People loved Kai, and I think that the majority of people still love Kai. the jealousy is gonna start to come up because you got Kevin Hart, you got Drewski on your stuff. Every single top person is coming to your platform, right? And so it's now gotten to a point to where eventually, if you get high enough, then people are going to start not calling you authentic. They're gonna say you lost your way. When you on your way up, people root for you until you get past a certain level. Then they say you got too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so
You know how you
that's just a
know
part of the game.
you know how you know you made it when you're a black man? Because they call you zesty. This nigga Chris just called Kai Cenat. This nigga Kai Cenat has zesty tendencies. Nigga, did you see that nigga go ham on what's her name? Tiana Trump? Nigga, what?
Yeah,
They
I
said
think that I see his people in the chat right now that's calling him corny. How is he corny? This dude is so he
no,
grinding,
That
bro.
nigga's running it up,
He
man.
killing
But
it.
he been but
How
he
can you
been
hate
doing
on
it for a
Kai?
long time. He was doing it like in his early teens.
I hate when
I'm
people hate
saying,
on people, bro. That junk is so whack,
He was
bro.
just like
Because
in his bedroom talking shit. Like he was just in his room.
now listen,
look, they
let me
talking about Kai sold. How he sell out? How you sell out to what?
That
Anton,
What
let
is
me
he selling out
Cut it
to?
up.
see what it is. Castanet was us before we got our innocent script. Y'all jealous of him still having this innocence at 23, 24 when the world had already had their way by you by the age of 16.
Mm.
That's why the women love him. He give them that nephew energy. He give them that
He
stank.
cool.
That's my little stank. That's how women view Castanet. That's why they love him so much because he's still pure. And the
Yeah, I
dude,
think the people just. I think that it's always going to happen. And the first place that it's going to come from is the people that say that they got your back or the people that say that they love you. It's always
yeah,
going to come from that lens first. It always come from people that look like you first and all of that. The minute that you start becoming even more successful, they don't say, "Oh man, I'm happy he up out of there." They always hate. It's that's just a part of the game, bro. That's the nature of people. People are haters. They not even gonna get nothing from it. They not hurting because of him. They not benefiting because of him. They just gonna have some hate, and he ain't did nothing to nobody. Nothing.
You know, one of the things though that like the thing that that people gotta realize is like some of these folks are on camera and you're able to see their lives for the majority of the day, every day, almost. So if there's a moment where they say something corny or they say something that don't appeal to you, it doesn't mean that they overall are corny. It just means that was a moment. You're
Yeah.
able to see them for a longer period of time than you actually able to see most human beings. So yeah, they're gonna have moments where they aren't always funny or they're off or they're not as entertaining. It doesn't mean them overall is corny. It just means
yeah,
that was a moment where they just wasn't that funny, or it was just real life and it wasn't that entertaining and it was just something boring, some regular everyday shit. That's the part of being a content creator that people don't understand. It's
Yeah.
not gonna
But
always be 1,000% entertaining all the time,
Can't
especially
but
nobody
when you
say.
they
stream it.
get to hide
Ain't
behind
nobody
they get
ever
to
say
hide
that I
behind
done
the screen.
hated on nobody. I ain't never stopped nobody from getting the bag.
and,
Ever.
and Anton's
Ever.
They get
told
to
me.
hide behind the screen.
Anton said these words and they'll never leave my head. He said, "I have never seen nobody hate their way to the top."
Never.
I promise you, that's the God honest truth. And I don't even, he don't even mess with me. I have never seen nobody hate their way to the top.
No, because you
Ever.
need to form relationships. You need to form, you know, partnerships. Like there's no way you're gonna have that attitude and think you're gonna go to the top.
I'm just amazed that people think that um I don't know what people get out of that. I just don't understand what people get out of hating a dude that grinded and hustled his way to the top. Like, what do I get out of that?